Welcome to the Bag Maker's Workroom. I am Chris with Simply Classic, and today is Thursday, February 12th, 2026. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us live. We go live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you can't join live, watch the recording on YouTube at any time. Make sure you subscribe, click the bell icon so that you're notified when I post a new video or when we go live. So I want to say hello to some people here in the chat. We already have a good chat going on. So Lisa Cox says hello, got some sunshine today, yay. We have someone here from North Georgia. Lorena from North Georgia? Thank you so much for joining us. And Arnetta from Washington, D.C. So thank you so much, everyone. We really appreciate you taking a little time to spend with us on Thursday evenings. So today our theme is spring and summer bag trends from the runway. These are always some of my favorite shows. I have spent some time at the airport last week, obviously, because I was in Ohio. So while I was there, I was able to sit and watch some of the runway shows. You know how you are when you're waiting on planes, you got to wait a while. And so it was really interesting to see a lot of them. Really tried to watch Chanel, Dior, some of the, I think it was Ferragamo. I mean, I just kind of randomly typed in names. And one of them, and I can't remember which one it was. I want to say it might have been Chanel, had the runway show like in a subway setting, and they had the models kind of coming in and out of the subway and walking around, and it was more like a casual, instead of it being a formal runway, it was more like a casual one. They even had some just like they come out of the subway and then they lean against a post. So anyway, it was really kind of neat. If you ever get a chance, you know, you're looking for something to watch on YouTube, just do a search for it. And you can see some of them, and they're kind of fun to watch. Some of the things are kind of crazy, you know. Some of the clothing can be a little strange, but anyway, it's all good. It's fun to watch. So anyway, we're going to be starting by going over what's new in the Simply Classic Scoop, and then I'm going to show you the pattern of the week, which is the Simply Classic Clutch. We'll, of course, go over some perfect pairings for that as well. We'll look at some designer bag inspiration from the runway. We're going to talk about the history of fashion shows, and then we'll feature our customers' bags in Artistry Avenue. At the end, we're going to give away some patterns and do a little bit of Q&A. So before we start, please take a second to give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate that. It does help us reach other people. It lets us know you know, that we appreciate you, you appreciate it. I mean, it all works fantastic. So thank you so much for doing that. So now it's time for the Simply Classic Scoop, and this is where I tell you what's new here at Simply Classic. So before I get into this, I do want to say that last week, Ohio was fabulous. So thank you so much to everybody that attended. Pins and Needles was fabulous host. I'll definitely be going back. They've asked me to go back before the end of the year. So probably October, November timeframe, I'll be back up in Ohio. And they hosted a fabulous event. All of the students there were amazing. We had a great time. And it was just a really fun 2-day event. Everybody finished their bags. We're getting some photos together, and we're going to show you some of those next week. So one of the things that we've been working on this week, since I have been back, we have officially moved our website to Shopify. Now, it's still a work in progress. You know, we keep finding little quirks and things. You know how it is. Technology has little glitches. So if you see something that looks a little funny, let us know. And we're happy to take a look at it. And we appreciate your help and your patience as we work through the progress of getting it up and going. But anyway, it is up. And if you look at it, I think you're going to be really excited. We've made some really cool improvements. So we're going to share a few of those with you. So the first thing is we made it much easier to find what you're looking for. So there's a lot of new ways to search and kind of filter products. So for example, this is our leather page, and you can filter by thickness, you can filter by color, you can filter by tannage, you can filter by temper, or even texture. So if you have something specific you're looking for, or maybe you know that your sewing machine can only handle a certain thickness, you can find it very easily now. The next thing is on the actual product pages. You'll see what's called a section called Pairs Well With. And we spent hours going through our warehouse to see what went well together. So now when you view any product, you'll see the other materials that match it. So we have coordinating lining, thread, everything that coordinates with that product, you're going to see right here in this Pairs Well With section. We also made some changes to our pattern pages. So now when you view a pattern, you're going to see like these drop-down menus over on the right side, and it's going to give you a lot more information about the bag. You're going to be able to see all the bag features, the finished size, the material list, recommended supplies you need. I mean, just everything before you check out, you will know exactly what you need. So a couple other things you need to know is when you log in next time, your old password is not going to work. You're going to need to create a new account, or you can log in with the shop app if you use that. We do have your past orders saved in our system, but they might not be immediately linked to your new account. So just kind of keep that in mind. And if you're looking for something you can't find, certainly let us know. For subscription box members, we are working on transferring your subscriptions to the new site, and we'll send an email with more details before the next subscription period. Wholesale customers, you no longer have to use your coupon code when you shop. Now, when you're logged in, you're going to see your wholesale discounts automatically. They're going to automatically be applied to all eligible products. We also have a section where once you order a pattern, it's going to be saved to your account. So you can log into your account at any time and download your patterns. No more expiring after 30 days. You will have access to all of your patterns at any time. Just log in and download them as many times as you want. There's no limit on that. So Lynn says, I love the pairing recommendations since it's hard to tell with looking at the computer. We agree. And that's the reason why we do perfect pairings here, on Thursday evenings. But, when you're shopping, that doesn't help you, right? You want to know right then what goes together. So literally it took us weeks to do that, but I think it's going to definitely be worth it. It definitely helps us because it helps you. And I think all around it's going to be fantastic. So super excited. So go on and take a look if you have a second. But if you have any issues with the website, something that doesn't look right, reach out to info@simplyclassic.net. That's going to go to a community inbox. We can go ahead and take a look. Whoever's available, we'll take a look at it and get it straightened out for you. And we are obviously happy to help, and we're happy with your feedback. If something looks weird, don't hesitate, please, to reach out because it's probably something we need to fix. Every time you change something, it gets glitchy, and that's just kind of part of it. Software, right? We just go, software. All right, the next thing I want to tell you about is something I am super excited about. So we are going to have sew-alongs each month, and of course, some of you joined me last month for the Jamela hack, and I really love how creative we got. I think for the first half hour, all we did was talk about different ways that we could change up the wallet. So I am doing something this month a little bit different. And instead of doing just one hack, we're going to take the Simply Classic clutch. That's going to be what we hack this time. And we're going to turn it into two very different bags. So we're going to do a sew along, and we're calling it double stitched. And we're doing it with Shanova Mabry of That's So Nova. I know a lot of you know Shanova. She is fantastic. She's an excellent bag maker. Love her. She's so sweet. And so what I did is I called her up and I challenged her to hack the Simply Classic clutch in her own unique style. And she made this beautiful fringed hip bag that you see on the right. So then I made one, and that's the one you see on the left. Completely different look, same pattern, okay? I had some actual pattern piece changes. She had some pieces she added on. But basically what we're gonna do is on the sew along, which is going to be Wednesday, February 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern time, which is 10 a.m. Pacific, we are both going to be on the sew along. She'll be doing her hack. I'll be doing my version of the hack, and we're going to both sew along with you. And you guys can check, we can decide what you want to do. So the links down below for the sew along. It is $39.99. That includes the pattern. You're going to get the pattern automatically, and you're also going to get a little instruction page that's going to show you or tell you what you need to do ahead of time, like what you need to do to prepare for it. And it's also going to give you a link to the Zoom itself. So understand that, you know, the $39.99 is something we charge for the behind the scene costs that we have. Okay, these sew alongs, we do need software, we need cameras, we need all these things. I need people to help me get everything set up. That covers the cost of that. The pattern's complimentary. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. If you already have the pattern and you want to join the sew along, you know, please understand that that's the kind of behind the scenes cost. So we are really excited about doing this. Nova is super excited about doing this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And so, you know, again, double stitched, that's going to be kind of a new thing we do periodically. And we're going to be doing this bag together. So I hope you can join us. So we also have some updates about the SAC Bag and Sew Expo in August. I had a lot of fun last year, and I'm really excited to be teaching even more classes this year. So let's go over what's happening. So I will be teaching 3 workshops. Okay, so these are going to be all day. The Roseanne and the Kaplan, I'll be teaching. It's going to be all day class. The Eva is going to be like a 4-hour class. Okay, so this is going to be the same as last year. You're going to pay to enter the class, and then you're going to pay for a kit fee. Your kits are going to be totally cut, stabilized, interfaced, ready to go. If you were in any of my classes last year, you know how amazing those kits were. We're going to do the same thing this year so that as soon as we get in the class, we can start in and get making those bags so we can get completed. I'm also going to be teaching 3 lecture style classes: leather bag making by machine, how to price your bags to sell, and how to dupe your dream designer bag. So those are 1-hour lecture style classes. Then I'm also going to be doing 3 project classes. And these are kind of like little mini workshops. They're smaller projects, and they're really great for, you know, beginners or people that just want to try some things out and see how faux leather works, see how their machine works with faux leather, you know, or just try something a little new. So the project classes are the Madison Wallet, the Cord Companion, which actually is something brand new I'm working on right now. It's not even on the website yet. And then also a class called Manipulating Leather, which is basically something that we're doing to show you different ways to manipulate leather to add accents and features to any bag. So it's going to be, it's 4 days, okay, this year. The SAC Bag and Sew is 4 days. And I am really excited about this. So the classes go on sale Saturday. Okay, so make sure you check out the SAC Bag and Sew website so you can register for the classes. And of course, I'm not the only teacher. There are a bunch of fantastic teachers going, some of the same teachers as last year, a few new ones. And the bags, it's going to be hard to decide what classes to take. I got to tell you, there's a lot of fantastic classes. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a great event. So Cindy says, your kits were simply amazing last year. I plan on taking 2 or maybe 3 of your classes this year. Thank you, Cindy. Cindy was fantastic too. I remember you made the Julie, and you were even out in the open area afterwards finishing it up. So yeah, it was fun. I mean, the event really was fantastic. So if you have a chance to go, we would love to see you. I believe that the classes, at least the larger all-day classes, are going to be limited to 20 students. So if you are interested in getting in, make sure you don't wait, okay? Because once they're sold out, we can't add any more, okay? So the schedule's full, and you'll see that when you get on the website. So the next thing I want to do is to spotlight some YouTubers who posted Simply Classic tutorials this week. Teresa from Tree 60 Handbags made the Sorella hip bag. Look at how beautiful that is. She really, I mean, fantastic job. And then, of course, my friend Barbie from Genie Designs made our newest pattern, the Talise, during hers. And she used our faux hair and hide. So if you're looking for another take on those patterns, maybe a little bit different kind of instruction, check out their videos. Because, you know, sometimes the way I explain things it's clear to me, but it may not be clear to everybody else, right? And I understand that sometimes a different way of having things explained really helps. So I encourage you to go check them out. They really did a great job. So next we have some exciting news. We're doing a Valentine's Day / President's Day sale this weekend. Everything is 15% off in the store, excluding wholesale purchases, of course, and also excluding the sew along. It starts tonight at midnight Eastern time, and it runs through Monday, February 16th. So before we move on, we need to pick our giveaway winners from our last 2 episodes. So as a reminder, we give away a PDF pattern every week on the live stream. If you win, you'll receive a PDF pattern of your choice. So first, we're going to pick a winner from 2 weeks ago. We have the name of everyone who entered here, and I'm going to draw one winner. So to enter, we ask you to share your first name and your favorite machine to sew on. Okay, what's your favorite bag making machine? And let me just say before I pick this, because I'm really interested to see what people said. When we were in Ohio, people brought their own machines to the class. There was a variety of things. So of course there were the Burnett, the BO8s, the Janome HD9s, and then there was some Baby Lock machines, and there were some Brother machines, and they all worked amazingly well. They were all straight stitch machines, like the Burnett, like the HD9, but they were fantastic. So I have a feeling some of that's going to be in here. So let's go ahead and pick a winner. Let's dig down to the bottom here. And the winner of this is Jessica. Oh, okay. So Jessica was at Sack Bag and Sew last year, and she brought her Cellrite with her, Cellrite Ultra Feed. And she mentioned that she loved that Shauna and Taylor are sisters. Yes, they are. And Jessica, I hope to see you at Sack Bag and Sew this year. She had a really fantastic machine. We were all like oohing and eyeing over her Cellrite. Okay. So the next, we're going to pick 2 winners from last week's episode because it was pre-recorded. And for this one, we asked you your name and one bag feature that you always add to a bag. So no matter what, you add this to a bag. And I have to say, mine is a key fob. I tend to do that. Once in a while, I'll make a bag that doesn't have one, but for the most part, for me, it's a key fob. So, oh my gosh, Jessica, look at this. She won again. She said, I love adding zippers now that I'm more comfortable with zipper by the yard. So that is one. And then the second one is Sewing Wolf. She says, the hardware I like to add most to bags or pouches is zipper pulls. Okay, so both regarding zippers this week. Noreen at Sewing Wolf. So congratulations to our winners. So please email share@simplyclassic.net within 30 days to claim your prize. And for everyone else, stick around because we'll be doing another giveaway at the end of the show. So now it's time to talk about our feature pattern, which is the Simply Classic Clutch. It is on sale for $12.49 this week, and it is the PDF version only. You can see this is the version of it here, and it is a very sophisticated clutch with designer-inspired quilting. We're going to take a look at the overhead. Look at it here on the overhead. So the quilting pattern is inspired by Dior's classic Canage pattern. It has a very obviously high-end look. The clutch has a slip handle, and so you carry it basically by sticking your hand in like this, theoretically, to carry this, okay? It is a clutch, and by definition, a clutch is a bag that you carry in your hand. It does, of course, have a zipper closure, and inside you're going to find 2 credit card slots and a zipper pocket. Okay, so we have credit card slots in here and a zipper pocket. So you really don't have to carry a wallet. You can stick your ID, a credit card in here, you know, a few of your essentials, maybe a little cash in the zipper pocket, some lipstick or whatever you may need, and it's everything that you need all in one for a fantastic evening out. So the pattern is written for confident beginners. It's really great if you want to start working with leather and, maybe you haven't done it before. This is one of the classes we did in Ohio, and every single one of those machines actually stitched the bag. No problem. Leather. No problem at all. We have, if you're interested in this kit, or if you're interested in this bag, we do have kits. It comes in light blue, which is this color here, hot pink, and red. It includes our chrome tan Italian leather, which is this here. It does not need to be skived. It can be sewn on, like I mentioned, the heavy duty domestic machines that I mentioned before. They also include, the kits include coordinating lining, your zipper, and your zipper pulls. Now, the pattern is sewed separately. And the reason why is because a lot of people already have the pattern. And sometimes they have, like, they buy one pattern, they buy multiple kits because they want it in different colors. So it really isn't fair to make people pay for the pattern over and over if they already have it. So therefore, if you do buy a kit, the pattern is sewed separately. Of course, the kits are great if you don't want to buy an entire hide. You can get enough to make your clutch and see how it feels and how your machine does with it. So we highly recommend that that's the way you go. So again, the pattern for this bag is $12.49 this week. That discount will end on Wednesday, February 25th. And of course, if you're joining the double stitch sew along with me and Snow later this month, you're going to receive the pattern when you register for the event. So just keep that in mind. All right, next it's time for perfect pairings. And this is where we match some of our leather and faux leather with lining, thread, and hardware. If you're ever unsure about what goes together, feel free to reach out via email. We're always happy to help. We really hope that our website begins to help you more, although do not ever hesitate to reach out because we're here to help. And today our pairings are inspired by some of the runway trends that we're going to cover a little bit later. So the first thing we want to show you is our faux leather pairing, and this is our blue-green croc. We think that this is really fabulous with the teal seam stripe by Tilda. We think the gunmetal hardware would look amazing with this, and then for thread, we recommend the Hoover gray. Okay, we think that would look amazing on a clutch or any other bag, of course. And then this leather pairing is something I'm kind of excited about. We have this cobalt blue leather, and it is 10% off this week. This is amazing. This color is amazing. Very big, one of the most popular colors we saw on the runway, which you'll see in just a minute. I would pair that with the crisscross gray by Tilda. I would put gunmetal hardware with it, or you could use nickel, and then blue jay thread. Okay. And of course the thread comes in text 45 or 70. This is a really great color combination. And if you really love this cobalt blue, I suggest you go ahead and grab it. These hides are amazing. All right. So we are going to move on to designer bag inspiration. And this is when we're going to turn to the spring and summer runways to see what's new. And of course, what's most popular among luxury brands. The fashion world is ahead of the time. So these runway shows actually happened in autumn of last year. Right now they're doing fall runway shows. And that's because the industry really needs time for the buyers to place orders and the stores to stock up on the products. But as home sewists, we can really work much faster than them, and we don't necessarily need to plan so far ahead. So we're going to look at some bag trends that dominated the spring and summer runways for 2026. Some of these trends have been reported by publications like Vogue and others that we observed ourselves. We're going to look at 3 shapes and styles, 3 colors and textures, and 3 bag features that are really popular right now. And we're going to start with the shapes and styles. So over the past few years, drawstring bucket bags have been pretty popular. But this season, we're seeing a lot more open bucket bags, either with no closure at all or just a really simple metal clasp. These bags tend to be constructed very simply. And, like I've said before, a lot of times these designer bags are very simple, okay? You don't need a lot of, difficult sewing in small pieces, and they're just very simple bags. Like this one here is just basically a main piece at the bottom. I mean, and a handle. There's not much else to that, but they're very, very popular. The next thing is kind of a ode to the vintage style, right? So these bags are the Kisslock bags, and they were very popular in the 40s and the 50s, but they're inspiring a lot of trends right now. And Coach has really helped drive this trend with their recent collections that we're seeing now. And in fact, frame bags in general are very popular. Next, another kind of vintage inspired trend is this drawstring pouch. These can be leather, but sometimes they're made of silk or satin or other soft fabrics. The bags are interesting because the shape is dainty and ladylike, but the way they're carried is very casual. They might have a wristlet strap, or sometimes they're just carried as like a clutch. So it's really a great balance between a casual and sophisticated look. So now let's talk about color. And again, cobalt blue, biggest thing we've seen on the Runway show. Last season was all about navy, but for spring and summer, we're going to get a little bit brighter, which makes sense. And this was by far the most popular color. I mean, it was amazing. We saw almost every single designer released a cobalt blue bag. Next is what they're calling indigo. So indigo is a blue toned purple. It's not, it has a lot more blue than red. And again, it's very bright and bold. We actually carry a leather called Eggplant, and it's one of our best sellers. It's actually very similar to this color. And we're using it in the Nina classes too. Okay, croc bags, but specifically blue, even though they were in all colors, kind of a blue-green or other pastels were very, very popular. So, you know, this is, you can see here, it goes from like a darker kind of seafoam shade to more of a darker blue-green, kind of like our faux croc, maybe like aqua teal, but this was a very, very popular color. Another very popular trend we saw was top handles. And just like Kisslocks, this is kind of a throwback to bags from the 40s and the 50s. Top handle bags never really go out of style, but they're definitely less common than other kinds of bags. And it's changing right now. We're seeing a lot of top handle bags everywhere. Next is this kind of flat tonal quilting. So quilted leather is always popular, and that's thanks to brands like Chanel and Dior. But over the past few years, we've seen them get like really puffy, like super puffy. But now what's happening is it's becoming much flatter. So each one of these bags has some kind of stitching running through it. And, you know, we're calling it quilting. I don't know that it would necessarily be called quilting because it doesn't have foam behind it, but that's what we're going to call it. But it's like a flat quilting. They don't have padding. It's almost more like an embroidery than a traditional quilting. And the thread is matching the color of the bag. Okay, it's tonal. So instead of contrasting with it, it matches it. Next is geometric panels. And you know, we've already seen this with the Loewe puzzle bag, which is the one there in the middle. And now other designers are following suit. A lot of bags this season have geometric panels that are pieced together in interesting ways, almost like origami. So in past seasons, we've talked about bags that kind of fold in unique ways. And this is kind of similar to this origami look or effect, but it's more about the edges than the folds. Now, a few things that we want to mention, have been popular in the past and continue to still be popular. One is fur, hair on hide, still very popular, like this Bottega bag you see here on the left. Saw a lot of pony hair, shearling trim, and even like really fluffy furry bags. Aged and distressed leather is still going strong. People like it because it ages gracefully, right? If you get a bag that already looks a little aged, then it really works well. You don't have to, worry about keeping it polished 100% perfectly. It's just kind of part of, and leather ages anyway. So it makes it nice. And then, of course, chain straps. Chain straps are everywhere. They're very popular. They've always been very popular. Last season, we noticed the double chains everywhere. And, of course, that trend is still going on. You can see that here on the right. Next is slouchy suede bags. They were also very popular this season. So if you like this look, try our faux suede. It's really a beautiful alternative that's less delicate than real suede. In the middle, we have another suede bag, this time with cargo pockets. These were not quite as common this spring as they were last fall, but we did still see quite a few. And the final honorable mention here is the color burgundy. So we talked about burgundy bags last spring because they were everywhere. Burgundy is usually more common for fall and winter, but over the past years, it's really become more common all year round. So to recap, these are the main trends we looked at today. Let me know which ones are your favorites and which ones really aren't for you. Did anything surprise you? Yeah, I don't know. Let me know in the chat. And in fact, this is going to be our giveaway. So for replay watchers, if you're watching the replay, not the live stream right now, but if you're watching the replay afterwards and you want to enter to win a PDF pattern of your choice, leave a comment below the video that includes your first name and your favorite bag trend that we just talked about. I'll randomly select one comment to win a Simply Classic pattern during our live stream on February 26th. So that gives you 2 weeks to enter. If you're watching live, stick around because we're going to do a giveaway at the end of this episode. So now it's time for Thursday Thread, and this is where I share a sewing or design story. And today I'm going to tell you about the history of fashion shows. So this really isn't specific to bag making, but I think it'll help paint a picture of why the fashion industry invests so much time and money in these big, spectacular shows multiple times a year. So let's go back to the 1860s. Photography was still kind of new back then, and it was really expensive. So advertisements were not using photos. Instead, designers used these hand-drawn sketches to advertise their garments and accessories. In their shops, they had mannequins, just like we do today, but the concept of a fashion model was unheard of. That changed when the English designer Charles Frederick Worth asked his wife Marie, who is pictured on the right, to model his designs. So whenever customers or buyers would come into his shop, he would have Marie wear his garments to kind of demonstrate how they looked on a real person. This was so successful that he started hiring full-time models, and other designers followed suit. At first, these women were not called models, they were actually called mannequins. By the late 1800s, European designers were beginning to host fashion parades, which were the earliest form of runway shows. They usually took place in the designer's salon or workshop, and they were much more low-key than fashion shows are today. There was also no music or elaborate sets, just models showing off the garments. So that changed in 1901 thanks to an English designer named Lady Duff Gordon. She had a fashion house called Lucille, and she designed a series of gowns that were each inspired by an emotion. She really wanted those emotions to be conveyed in a theatrical way during her fashion parade. So she used music, scenery, and lighting to achieve that. Now, a little kind of fun fact, side note, a few years later, Lady Duff Gordon was a survivor of the Titanic disaster. And you might remember her character in the Titanic movie. So thanks to Lady Duff Gordon, fashion shows had become more of a theatrical performance by the early 1900s. Many designers used stages or catwalks to elevate their models and make them more visible. Meanwhile, department stores started hosting their own fashion shows for their customers. So unlike designer events, these were open to the public and were very popular among the middle class. The concept of Fashion Week became about because fashion houses wanted to coordinate their shows around preset dates twice a year. The purpose was to get new clothing lines in front of foreign buyers, especially among European designers who wanted to sell their clothes in the US. So initially, these events were confined to fixed spaces like department stores and hotels. We can see that in the first two pictures here, the second photo is very elegant. It was probably most likely taken in a hotel ballroom. Then in 1960, designers started branching out and getting creative with locations. So on the right, we have a photo from the Balmain fashion show that took place in a Parisian wine cellar, for example. So now it wasn't just about showcasing the clothing, it was about creating an experience, and different locations tend to lend themselves to different audio, lighting, and choreography. So that continued in the 1970s and 80s. And in the 70s specifically, fashion shows started to get a bit more diverse in terms of who was allowed to participate and attend. Then in 1984, Thierry Mugler was the first to sell fashion show tickets to the public. But most shows were still private and exclusive among celebrities, designers, and fashion buyers. By the late 1980s, early 1990s, the fashion industry introduced the concept of the supermodel. Fashion shows became even more extravagant, costing millions of dollars each show. Yes, millions. Isn't that crazy? They started getting televised, which made them more accessible to the average person, not just the elite. Today, luxury brands host two types of fashion shows, the haute couture and the ready-to-wear. The haute couture show features one-of-a-kind handmade designs, while the ready-to-wear features designs that are factory-made and be purchased by the public. So haute couture shows can sometimes be very avant-garde, while others are more commercial. The avant-garde refers to the experimental art and fashion that's ahead of its time, often features unexpected elements that push boundaries to make social or political statements. Now, when we see a really crazy design on the runway that no one could wear in real life, it's usually part of the avant-garde collection. Those pieces are intended to be viewed as art rather than practical pieces. So more recently, social media and smartphones have changed things even more dramatically. Now these fashion shows reach beyond cable TV and fashion magazines. They can be live streamed to the masses, and photos can be shared instantly. There's also many public shows these days, which anyone can buy tickets to. So as a result, brands are really trying to show each other up with memorable sets and special effects so they can go viral online. For example, Fendi did a show on the Great Wall of China in 2007, and then in 2017, Chanel featured a fake rocket launch in their runway. So fashion shows evolved from mannequins to department store fashion parades to elaborate multi-million-dollar performances. And that happened over the course of 150 years. 200 years ago, models didn't even exist as a concept. And now we have fashion shows with rocket ships and pyrotechnics. I mean, it's craziness. All right, next we're going to move on to Artistry Avenue. And every week we choose 3 bags that were posted in the Simply Classic bag making community on Facebook, or that were emailed to share@simplyclassic.net. If we feature your bag, you can get a free PDF pattern of your choice. You have 30 days to email share@simplyclassic.net to let us know which pattern you'd like. So now let's take a look at this week's artists. Andrew made the Simply Classic clutch using this beautiful green cork and matching green lining. He quilted the cork, and he really did a fantastic job. I don't usually use cork myself, and I really love seeing different materials used for the patterns, and this is fantastic that the greens match like exactly. They are absolutely amazing. So that's a great job. Well done, Andrew. Kathy made this clutch. She used this beautiful orange leather, and she used a different quilting pattern, which was inspired by Bulgari. They used this on a lot of their bags, and we featured it on an episode back in September. Kathy decided to try it herself, and it turned out really beautiful. So remember, you don't have to stick to the Canache quilting pattern that is included in the pattern itself. You can do any quilting design you would like. And then Wendy emailed these photos in of her Talise, which is our newest Simply Classic pattern. She used a cow print for the accent down the middle. Okay, so those front pieces there are cow print. And it really contrasts perfectly with this navy. I don't know that if I really would have thought of putting that together, but it is absolutely beautiful. I really love this. So thank you so much to our featured artists, Andrew, Kathy, and Wendy, for sharing your amazing makes. Don't forget to email share@simplyclassic.net within 30 days to let us know which PDF pattern you would like. So before we move on to our Q&A, let's talk about our live giveaway. We're going to be giving away a PDF pattern of your choice to someone watching the live stream. So if you're watching live, then here's how to enter. All you need to do is type the word catwalk, okay? So CATWALK, all one word, catwalk, in the chat. Please only enter the keyword one time, and we'll have the computer pick a winner while we do our Q&A. This is open worldwide. So let's take a look. I know that we do have a question here from last week that we want to answer. And Delphina asked, when you make a wallet, do you use a number 3 zipper or a number 5? She wanted to know if number 5s are too wide. And basically what I would suggest there is to kind of take a look at what the pattern designer suggests, because the number 3 zipper is narrower than the number 5 zipper. You know, there are probably places where a number 3 zipper is warranted. Other times you can use a number 5, no problem. So I would say, you know, kind of watch and see. And if you do want to change it out, which you usually can, make sure you accommodate for the wider zipper tape when you do. That's a really great question. So Dale asks, can you use the self-adhesive lining with the classic clutch? So that's a good question. You know, our self-adhesive lining is so wonderful and easy to use. I would be a little bit concerned on how you would turn it. Okay, that's the only thing. The adhesive lining is for more like when you want to sew wrong sides together, or do something like card slots where you can just put it on the back. To actually line a bag with it, you would probably on this clutch have to, you know, sew your zippers in, and then maybe put the bag and include your lining, and then put the bag wrong sides together and stitch around, and then maybe finish the edges. That would be a great way to do it. And you could certainly use it then. But to just use it just like you would the regular cotton lining and then turn it, I'm not sure that would work quite as well. Okay, so let's see if the computer has picked a winner. We do. Rayanne 7661. Congratulations. So you have won a PDF pattern of your choice. So make sure you email share@simplyclassic.net within the next 24 hours and let us know which pattern you would like. So we really appreciate you joining us this evening for the Bag Makers Workroom. Make sure that if you're interested in the sew along, you go ahead and sign up for that. Again, I'm really excited to be doing that with Nova, and I'm really excited about the double stitched you know, things that we're doing. I think that's going to be a fantastic thing to periodically get some people on that make a bag different than I do, that hack it different than I do. There's so many great ideas, and I'm really excited to see what you do. So make sure you go ahead and click that link below, check it out, check out our new website. We really appreciate feedback on that. And until next time, everybody, happy sewing.